Well, we're going to learn more about a fish. It's the sturgeon, and joining us today, she's Wildlife Communications Specialist with Ohio Division of Wildlife District 2, Abby Ditomassi, and thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me, Holly.
Okay, so this is actually kind of not that pretty, but anyway, let's talk about the sturgeon. This is
a skeleton of the sturgeon, yeah.
That's pretty big, really.
Oh, and the reason I love bringing in the skeleton is just because these guys are living fossils. So they were around during the dinosaur age, and their form hasn't changed much. So that's why I really like looking at this skeleton, because I don't have a live one to show you, but it's really cool to see that they have this bony skeleton here you can see on the head, and you see down the spine they've got these scutes. But this kind of yucky part that makes it not look great is because they have a partly cartilaginous skeleton. So that's actually cartilage, and cartilage doesn't stick around on a skeleton, so that's why it kind of looks a little yucky there.
Wow.
So sharks are actually fully cartilaginous. They don't have any bones a part of their skeleton. So it's just that kind of cool ancient fish. And they're the largest and oldest fish that live in the Great Lakes. So that's why I think they're so cool.
That is cool. So that's where we find them, in the Great Lakes.
Yeah, you can find them in the Great Lakes, and they can be found being adult age 6 to 8 feet long.
Oh my.
Yeah, they can be 100 to 300 pounds, and the oldest one found was 154 years old, so they can live to be over 100 years old. So they're really cool fish. They are bottom dwellers. They live on the bottom. You've got this shovel nose here that helps them to kind of shake up the sediment, and they're looking for mussels and invertebrates, and they don't have teeth. They actually, if you look on the screen there's barbels hanging down, so they can detect the food in the sediment, and they suck up the food with their mouth, and it's super cool. So they don't have teeth. You don't have to worry about that. And
that's a tiny one, like a baby one or something?
Yeah, that's a juvenile one right there. So that's a little one there. And the crazy thing about it is they actually take 15 to 25 years to sexually mature, so they can't have young until they're that old. Kind of like the turtles. Animals that live longer, they take longer to be able to reproduce, and that can kind of contribute to why they are endangered in Ohio.
Right, so I mean, I assume we don't see them often then, because if they're at the bottom and some of the lakes are pretty deep, I mean, is that how they also live so long, because no one's catching them? And do you eat these? So many questions.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, they are down at the bottom. People can catch them, but they do spawn to our rivers. But the thing is, since they are endangered, they used to spawn in 19 tributaries of the Lake Erie, 19 rivers. Now they're only in 2, and those are kind of up in the Detroit River, and so it's not here in Ohio that they're spawning, so you may not encounter them much. And also, part of the reason they're endangered is back in the 1800s, first they were seen as a nuisance fish, so they were killed because they were getting caught in the net, and it was like, I hate these fish, right? So they kill them. Then they found out, they're kind of oily, but you could smoke them, and they taste good. We could get their eggs and use them for caviar. So their populations got decimated in the 1800s and 1900s, and only 1% of their population remains in all of the Great Lakes.
Wow, that's terrible. So can we learn more? I mean, let's talk about in Toledo. There is a Sturgeon Fest on Saturday, October 7th.
Yes.
What's that going to be all about?
Oh, it's so awesome. So what is happening is the Toledo Zoo, the Division of Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, we've been working really hard to bring sturgeon back to Ohio, and specifically the Maumee River. So what's happening is they're doing well, up in Michigan and in Detroit. So they're actually taking the eggs from up there, bringing them to Toledo Zoo, where they're actually they're hatching these eggs with Maumee River pumped into their system, because those juvenile sturgeon are going to come out. They're actually going to imprint on the Maumee River waters, and then every year we're releasing 3,000 little juvenile sturgeon back into the Maumee. And what we hope to see is that they're going to survive, go out to Lake Erie, and then come back to the Maumee, and we won't know for like 15 to 20 years, right, that it's working, but that's what we want. We want to establish these spawning populations in the Maumee River in Ohio. And the Toledo, the festival, you as the viewers get to release one of these little sturgeon into the Maumee River. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
You're going to have an endangered species in your hand and put them in there. So, and then you can sponsor them for $30, so you can contribute. It's
lots of
fun.
things. It sounds like a good one. Take a trip to Toledo for that day. Yeah,
it's so
fun stuff is happening. Fascinating stuff, Abby, as always. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, don't go away. We'll look at the weather forecast next.